Viva Ricardo, viva Alexino. Consegues-me ouvir? Alexino, consegues-me ouvir?
Olá, professor.
Viva John,
Olá. Ah,
como estamos de microfone?
já está bem.
Muito bem, ótimo, ótimo. Estás melhor do que eu, que estou com esta coisa toda na cabeça. Mas já estamos a transmitir, temos já o colega Alexino do Brasil.
Uhum. Oh, olá.
é um bocadinho esquisito. Porque é que tu estás a aparecer e eu não apareço? Deixa cá ver. Aqui para os meus ecrãs. Show self-view. É isto. A professora Adélia acha que é melhor a outra imagem. Pois, está bem. Então já muda. Tenho mais que fazer normalmente do que isto. Mas vamos lá, que as pessoas já estão ali. Pensava que já tinha estes backgrounds definidos. E este, lembras-te, isto é o fundo um deve ser. Então, o 2 open. Assim ficamos com o mesmo fundo. Ok, já mudei de fundo. Não sei se gosto mais, mas pronto, mas fica. E, ok, eu vou só ali ver se está tudo ok numa outra sala e venho já, está bem?
Hum.
John, ficas aqui
Yeah,
e
fico.
a dizer bom dia às pessoas, se aparecerem pessoas e ver se elas conseguem ouvir bem e tudo mais.
Uhum.
Então, vá, até já.
Eu já sei.
Conseguimos ver-te, Alexino. Viva, ainda não te consigo ouvir. Mas olha, deixa-te aqui com o John, ele vai-te dizendo se te ouvir, ok? Até já.
Ainda não consigo ouvir. Tô. Acho que na esquerda, está na esquerda, em baixo, há uma microfone. Há uma icon de microfone. Ainda não consigo ouvir. Não estou a ver nada. Ah, mas consegues ver uma microfone em baixo na esquerda? Não estou a ouvir nada.
Ó, alô? Tá me
Ah,
ouvindo?
boa. É, boa.
Está me
Sei.
ouvindo?
Yeah, estou
Sim?
ouvindo.
Ah, tá
Sim.
certo.
Ah,
Perfeito.
bom dia. Acho
Bom
que
dia.
é
Bom
dia.
dia. como
Ah, ok.
está? Aqui para
Tô
mim,
bem, tô bem, tô bem.
aqui para mim é bom dia, para você aí é boa noite, né?
Agora já é noite, yeah.
É, e aqui são quase 6 horas da manhã.
Uau,
Deixa,
6 horas, velho. Uau. É tão cedo, né?
deixa eu só ver aqui para aumentar a tela e mudar o fundo também.
Bem, bem. Tá, tá.
Você está me ouvindo?
Yeah, estou a ouvir, estou a ouvir.
Mas a minha imagem acabou sumindo aqui, né?
Mas não, tá, tá bem.
Ricardo, tudo? Alexine,
Oi, Antônio, tudo bem? Como está?
tudo, já te ouço.
Só que tem que a minha imagem parece que sumiu, né?
Não, a tua imagem está ótima. O que é preciso era teres aí um background, assumires aí um background. Queres pôr o background do Tell Me?
Pode ser sim.
Tens tens o WhatsApp no teu computador ou queres que te envie por mail?
Deixa eu ver aqui. Deixa eu só ver aqui o que está aparecendo para. Estranho, eu não estou vendo a minha própria imagem, então eu não sei o que está
Então,
sendo.
tu quando tens
Aham,
aí em cima, no canto superior direito, tens
certo.
um último quadradinho onde tu podes escolher mostrar a própria imagem. Há bocadinho
Perfeito.
também tinha isso a acontecer, mostrar a própria imagem.
Deve ser o adérito aqui. Alô? Oi, adérito,
Alô?
tudo bem? Eu estou tentando ajustar a minha imagem aqui. Só um minutinho, eu te ligo daqui a pouco. Eu estou mais acostumado a usar o Google Meet.
Professor António.
Sim.
O professor André já está no waiting room.
Ah, claro. Não tinha
Então,
visto. Tu não conseguiste dar. Ok.
posso
Ah, já dei,
deixar.
agora já dei.
Oh,
Agora
ok,
já
ok.
dei. Quando for
Ok.
assim, podes dar. Toda a
Ok.
partida vamos aceitar toda a gente. Não há ninguém que a gente não
Uhum.
queira aceitar. Depois para a frente, se calhar podemos até pôr sem meeting room.
Ok.
Então, está tudo bem? Olá, John.
Viva.
Olá, boa tarde.
Eu não sabia que falava português.
Yeah. Yeah, falo
Em,
português, pois.
em Macau temos sempre muitas surpresas.
Yeah,
De repente, alguém começa a falar português, nem nos apercebemos. Mas é assim, ainda bem.
yeah.
Agora estou na dúvida se coloco essa imagem de fundo do Telme ou deixo esta da USJ, que já tenho.
O
Não,
Adérito,
É,
está me ouvindo?
consegues,
estou a ouvir muito bem, Alexino.
Pois é,
consegues
Eu
e
recomendava que
eu só,
pusesses uma imagem de fundo aí no teu.
pois é, só que tem que eu não consigo, não estou conseguindo acessar minha. Vocês estão me vendo, né? Também.
agora já
Não,
não,
Pois,
agora já não.
Não,
já
não,
te
não.
vimos, agora não.
deixa eu ver aqui.
Viva. Temos um Huawei a entrar, um telemóvel a entrar. Julgo que é um telemóvel. Será que podemos alterar o nome para o nome da pessoa?
Se é uma entrada livre, não há hipótese, não é?
Mas,
Não sabemos quem é.
hello,
É mesmo livre.
Huawei. Um, you can use your microphone. You want to use your microphone? Maybe not.
Mas é possível desligar-lhes o microfone, não é?
Ah, yes, sim, sim, sim.
Isso deve ficar até como automático.
Tá como automático já. Quem entra, entra com o microfone desligado. Se calhar, por causa das tosses, devia pôr o Alexinho também desligado.
Estão me ouvindo?
Sim, sim.
Ouvir estamos. Não te
Pois
estamos a
é,
ver.
exato. E eu estou tentando abrir a câmera aqui.
Então, ainda agora estava ligado.
Já estiveste, exatamente. Já estive.
Calma. Oi.
Olá, olá.
Olá, Selma. Já estiveste, exatamente.
O teu som não está ideal, Selma. Parece que tens algum ruído de fundo.
Olá,
Olá.
a transmissão está a funcionar. Se for possível, coloquem na pause a transmissão até se começar.
Está bem, posso
Não tem
tentar,
Ah,
não sei se
problema.
dá.
Não, mas não tem problema de parar. O streaming pode estar a funcionar. Não tem problema absolutamente nenhum.
Não está ainda a
assim está
gravar
melhor?
a sessão. Está melhor. O áudio está melhor. Não temos a tua imagem.
Conseguem me ouvir?
Sim, conseguimos te ouvir, Selma.
Ah, conseguem me ouvir?
Sim.
Sim?
Ok. Estava a dizer que é melhor nesta fase colocarem a transmissão na pausa, para se poder partilhar
Aqui
e as
só há
pessoas não estarem a
desligado
assistir.
só há ligado e desligado.
Não
Não
tem
tenho
problema,
pausa.
Selma. Isto é equivalente àquele período anterior ao início da sessão de abertura. As pessoas estão na conversa.
Ok. Eu não estou a conseguir que a minha imagem funcione aqui.
Que é a imagem de fundo.
Não, a minha imagem, o vídeo, não está não
Estranho.
está com a imagem.
Geralmente é uma coisa simples.
Pois é que está a funcionar, a câmera está a funcionar e não está. Vou entrar
Em-
pelo iPad. Diz aqui, o seu plano de fundo virtual ainda está sendo carregado. Iniciar o vídeo mesmo assim, usar vídeo. Escolher plano de fundo virtual.
Então vá. Eu há pouco vi aí um André Conde, uma notificação do André Conde a querer entrar. Recebemos um
Sério?
e-mail, acho.
Um e-mail. Então vamos ver os e-mails. Aí perdemos o Alexino agora.
Não, vou
Admito,
sair e
já
vou entrar
voltou.
com o iPad.
Ok, Selma, até já.
O Alexino agora já não fala.
Fui eu que o pus. A gente pode pedir,
Mute.
ask to unmute. Nós não
É melhor não
podemos.
fazeres nada com o Alexino, senão fica mais complicado. Eu vou
Agora
tentar
temos
ver
dois
se...
Alexinos.
Isso é que me preocupa. Não sei como é que ele...
Alô? Bom, agora parece que foi o professor Adérito que ficou sem áudio. Mas deve ter sido por livre vontade.
António, o Alexino está convencido que tem o microfone ligado.
Já regressei.
Viva! Tens que lhe dizer, Adérito, porque eu aqui não consigo ligar-lhe o microfone. Já está.
E tem a câmara desligada também.
Tem. Bom, Selma e Adérito já estão como co-host. Estamos a 8 minutos do início do nosso simpósio.
Vamos ver quantos participantes é que nós vamos ter. Não se esqueça que isto é uma experiência, não é? Também funciona como experiência. Neste momento há um bom número de
Houve,
inscritos entre autores
temos
e
aqui um, temos
estão
aqui um
cerca de
participante,
se- 70 pessoas, 68 inscritos
temos um
entre autores
participante,
e
temos um participante a pedir ao host para poder usar o AI Companion. Podemos permitir, certo?
depois não faço ideia.
Se não és tu, talvez
Pronto,
seja
o
Selmo.
Alexine já está visível
Isso. Vocês estão me ouvindo?
e estamos-te
Sim,
a ouvir. Não
Certo.
mexas em nada, Alexino.
Eu
Não,
não,
não
eu não vou,
mexas.
eu não vou mexer porque eu estou com medo de. Eu só não consegui colocar, deixar o fundo da tela só com a imagem
Fosca.
fosca, porque está um terror o fundo. É porque eu geralmente, quando entro, eu geralmente utilizo muito o Google Meet, né? Background. Ah, eu acho que eu já estou conseguindo já. Aí. E agora?
Está melhor.
Melhorou, né? Eu deixei fosca a imagem e acho que eu vou deixar, não vou mexer mais em nada, não. Tá certo? Estão me ouvindo?
está ótimo, está
Sim,
Ah,
certo.
sim, sim.
então eu não vou mexer mais em nada, não. Vou deixar do jeito que tá. E nem cumprimentei Selma, bom dia. Selma,
Bom dia.
Adélio, bom dia.
Bom dia.
Tudo bem?
Tudo.
Adélio, bom dia. Bom dia,
Olá, bom dia,
Antônio.
Alexino.
E
Mandei-te uma mensagem
Antônio,
por WhatsApp.
perfeito. Bom dia, Antônio, e bom dia.
Bom dia.
Tem um falante da língua portuguesa que eu não sei o nome, qual que é.
É o nosso MC, o John.
Olá.
Isso. Aham. Tem um falante da língua portuguesa que eu não sei o nome, qual que é. Ah, agora. O som está entrando depois, é isso? Está dando delay?
Não. É melhor não mexer em nada, Alexino. Já
Ah, tá
está.
certo.
Não mexas em nada.
Tá bom.
Meus caros, isto, como eu estava a dizer, é uma experiência também, não é? Porque
Aham.
vamos ver se este evento online cumpre os requisitos que a gente depois fará a posteriori. Já cumpriu agora pela qualidade das contribuições. Agora vamos ver como é que vai ser com o resto, não é? A entrada está relativamente automatizada, não é?
Não estamos a aceitar, temos sala de espera, estamos a aceitar as pessoas uma a uma.
Ok. Mas estão a dar atenção a isso, não é?
Estamos. Eu tenho aqui 3 minutos, se acharem por bem, começo a gravar a partir. Da hora
Vamos,
certa, das
vamos
6.
ter que dar, como sempre nas conferências, vamos ter que dar aí uns 10 minutos. Não há problema, porque penso que as intervenções são curtas. E, portanto, os 20 minutos que nós tínhamos pensado para a sessão de abertura, ainda bem que demos algum tempo aí. Vamos dar algum delay, não é? Para ver se entra público. Apesar de o acompanhamento online, vamos lá ver. Eu vou pô-lo aqui a um lado, só para ir acompanhando também.
E eu tô com medo de mexer aqui e dar algum. Bom, de qualquer forma, imagem está aparecendo, sendo certo, e também o som, certo?
Bom dia. Olá, bom
Bom
dia,
dia.
Pedro.
Bom dia.
Bom dia.
Até agora a conferência podia ser toda em português, não é?
O Adérito, você está conseguindo me ouvir, né?
Estamos perfeitamente, Alexi. Não, não mexas em nada. Não,
Tá
tá, agora
certo.
está.
Não vou mexer em nada, não. Que coisa, né? A tecnologia domina a gente, né? Não mexa que, que senão cai. E depois, Adérito, por favor, você poderia me passar durante o dia, que seria o meu dia aqui, você passar o link de amanhã para eu ir
É o mesmo link.
testando? Perfeito.
É o
Para eu ir
mesmo link.
fazendo os testes, né?
Manda os teus slides, fazes favor, para
Vou,
nós.
vou, vou mandar, eu vou mandar para você, e aí você, eu não sei se você vai passar para o Antônio ou para
Sim,
outra
sim. Não te
pessoa.
preocupes. Manda um de nós, vamos mandar para mim. Sim.
Certo. Aqui está muito frio, eu estou com minha jaqueta aqui, está tudo bem? Está fechadinha? Hein, Adélio?
Se está o quê? O que é que está bem, Alexina?
Eu estou com minha
Neste
jaqueta, porque
momento, o nosso
aqui
diálogo é público. Nós não estamos a
tá
conversar no WhatsApp, Alexi.
certo, tá certo.
I think let's switch now to English. I think we can
Yes, it's 6
give
o'clock.
5 minutes. Okay. 5 minutes is fine. 5, 10 minutes is fine because we have enough time for the opening session. Hello, welcome, Zoe. Is one of our authors, yes?
Hello. Hi. Nice to meet you.
And Imat also, be welcome.
Hi.
And also Inkeri is also one of our authors. Be welcome.
Numa hai, passando.
Olá, bom dia.
Bom dia.
Bom dia, fala português.
Falo sim. Acho que
Bom
aqui
Yeah,
dia.
quase todo mundo fala português.
but it will
Mas
be
eu
in
sou
English,
finlandesa.
okay?
Very good. Nice to meet you all.
Nice to
Nice
meet
to
you.
meet you.
We are postpone a little bit, 5 minutes, 5, 10 minutes for the opening session, because yeah,
We also have
let's
Então
see.
vou partilhar,
Anderson
está bem a
Souza.
transmissão no site.
Yes.
Sure, please. We're live on YouTube, so the link will be shortly available in our chat also. I also noticed Anderson Souza, one of our speakers today, joined the session.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Just good to hear your voice also to check the microphone is good. We could hear you clearly.
Okay,
Good.
I'm staying in my work and because por isso estou com câmera fechada.
Muito bem, sem problema, sem problema.
Tá bem?
Depois, quando estiver
Mas
na
estou aqui.
sessão, na altura certa, poderá ligar, sabe?
Sim, sim, claro, claro, com certeza.
Tá.
Com
Sorry
licença.
for the Portuguese interruption, but just technical issues.
Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning to our global academic network. Boa noite, boa tarde, e bom dia. Welcome to day one of Tell Me 2026, the third International Symposium of Biographical Narratives in Arts, Media, and Society. We are officially broadcasting live across 3 geographic hubs spanning Macau, Portimão, and São Paulo. My name is John, and I'm honored to serve as your MC for this extraordinary event. This year, the focus of our symposium is the power of biographical narratives in an era of rapid technological advancement. To launch our session, it is my privilege to welcome our distinguished institutional hosts and organizing chairs to deliver their official opening remarks. Professor Álvaro Barbosa, Vice Rector for Internationalization at University of St. Joseph, Macau. Professor Anderito Fernandes, our General Chair. Professor Selma Pereira, Local Chair for Portimão, and Professor Ricardo Chino Freire, Local Chair for São Paulo. Professors, the virtual floor is yours to welcome our international community. But first, let us see Professor Barbosa's video, opening welcome.
Dear colleagues, distinguished speakers, researchers, artists, students, partners, and friends, welcome to Tell Me 2026, the International Symposium on Biographical Narratives in Arts, Media, and Society. On behalf of the University of St. Joseph in Macau, I want to thank our organizing and scientific committees, our keynote speakers, and every contributor and participant who has made this event possible. Your presence gives strength and meaning to this conversation. Tell Me 2026 is built around a theme that is both deeply human and urgently relevant: the power of personal stories. In a world of rapid change and growing complexity, stories help us to understand who we are, how we relate to others, and how we make sense of the society we live in. Biographical narratives are forms of knowledge, dialogue, and civic participation. They give visibility to voices that are often unheard and build bridges between people, communities, and cultures, especially in the diverse dynamic cities of our time. As a university, we believe that knowledge is produced not only through data and theory, but through listening, interpretation, and dialogue. This symposium is a reminder of that, and of the value of bringing together international and interdisciplinary voices to face our shared challenges. To all participants, share your work, ask questions, listen generously, and build new connections. May these days inspire new ideas, new collaborations, and new ways of understanding the stories that shape our world. I wish you all a very productive, meaningful, and inspiring symposium. Thank you, and welcome to Tell Me 2026.
Thank you, Professor.
Professor Averito.
So it's my time now. Just confirm it's in the sequence. Yes. Okay. First of all, I thank Professor Álvaro for reserving some minutes to send us this message, because this is really important. It makes the link with our institution, University of St. Joseph in Macau. So, dear colleagues, distinguished keynote speakers, they will come later. Authors, especially authors, artists, students, partners, and friends. It is my great pleasure to welcome you to Tell Me 2026, the International Symposium on Biographical Narratives in Arts, Media, and Society. I speak as General Chairman of this symposium, as Director of the Doctoral School at the University of St. Joseph in Macau, China, and as President of the Artec International Association. Tell Me 2026 continues the path initiated in previous editions, where we created a space for reflection, research, artistic creation, and dialogue around biographical narratives and their role in the contemporary culture. Tell Me 2026 also builds in the Conta-Me project, a previous one, founded here in Macau, reinforcing the importance of personal stories as expressions of memory, identity, participation, and culture, while expanding Artec's international association mission of connecting arts, science, technology, and society. The theme that brings us together is simply yet profound. We all live through stories, our own stories. Personal narratives help us organize experiences, give meaning to memory, and imagine futures. As Antonio Damasio reminds us, the autobiographical self is shaped through our interactions and the cultures in which they occur. This means this autobiographical self is never a standalone phenomena. It always is a result of the social interaction. In the world marked by digital transformation, as we see today, misinformation, as also you can see each day, and diversity, the ability to understand and engage with stories is essential for education, citizenship, and more inclusive societies. So through personal stories, we can improve and promote authenticity. So we are linking people and we are hearing stories from people. Over the coming 2 days, we'll share diverse perspectives, as I expect, and practices. I hope this symposium will inspire dialogue, collaboration, and renew our commitment to knowledge with human and social meaning. I hope sincerely that, in spite of being an online event, will be able through this event to establish these dialogues that normally we have in face-to-face events. I warmly thank all who made Tell Me 2026 possible. To all participants, welcome. May this be a space of reflection, creativities, and exchange, spite of being online. Thank you, and I wish you an excellent symposium and exchange of ideas and discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. Now we can have Professor Salma to give a speech.
Bom dia, boa tarde a todos. Esta terceira edição do simpósio representa um momento particularmente importante para todos nós, mas também para o ISMAT e para a cidade de Portimão. A possibilidade de integrar a organização de um simpósio científico internacional desta dimensão reforça não apenas a crescente internacionalização da instituição, mas também o seu envolvimento ativo em redes de investigação, criação artística e colaboração académica internacional. Num contexto em que as humanidades, as artes e os mídias atravessam profundas transformações, iniciativas como o Tell Me tornam-se fundamentais para criar espaços de reflexão crítica, diálogo interdisciplinar e partilha de conhecimento entre diferentes geografias e culturas. É muito significativo podermos desenvolver este projeto em articulação entre Macau, Portimão e São Paulo, reunindo investigadores e artistas de diferentes partes do mundo em torno das narrativas biográficas e das suas múltiplas formas de expressão contemporânea. Ao longo destes 2 dias, teremos a oportunidade de contactar com investigações, práticas artísticas e perspectivas muito diversas, o que demonstra também a relevância crescente deste campo de estudo e criação. A pluralidade de abordagens presentes no programa confirma a importância de continuar a promover plataformas internacionais de encontro e colaboração como esta. Gostaria igualmente de expressar o desejo de que esta colaboração institucional e científica continue a crescer no futuro, dando origem a novos projetos, publicações, redes de investigação, mobilidades e iniciativas conjuntas entre as instituições parceiras. Creio que o Tell Me tem demonstrado precisamente o potencial que pode emergir quando diferentes contextos culturais e académicos trabalham em conjunto de forma aberta, colaborativa e transdisciplinar. Por fim, gostaria de agradecer sinceramente a todos os autores, artistas, keynote speakers, moderadores e participantes, membros da Comissão Científica e instituições parceiras que contribuíram para tornar esta edição possível. A realização de um simpósio internacional depende sempre de um grande esforço coletivo e é muito inspirador ver esta comunidade reunida em torno de temas tão relevantes e atuais. Desejo a todos um excelente simpósio e 2 dias muito inspiradores. Muito obrigada.
Thank you, Professor. Now let us have Professor Ricardo Chino to give an opening remark.
Bom dia a todos. Eu falo aqui do Brasil, da cidade de São Paulo. Na verdade, aqui já são 7h15 da manhã, por isso vocês estão vendo no meu vídeo o amanhecer aqui em São Paulo. Quero agradecer muito a presença de todos, ao professor Adérito Fernandes Marcos, né, que vem propiciando este encontro entre nós, a professora Selma, ao professor Antônio e a todos que eu estou conhecendo neste momento. Acredito que o projeto Tell Me ele é bastante importante porque ele traz a questão das narrativas na contemporaneidade, né? E no nosso caso, as narrativas uma perspectiva internacional e interdisciplinar. E é algo que marca muito porque quando falamos em narrativas, estamos falando numa perspectiva de culturas, política, questões sociais, históricas, daí a importância do Tell Me, né? Ao mesmo tempo que ele está falando de histórias de vida, ele também está falando das histórias da contemporaneidade. Tenho a sensação que todos os continentes estão presentes aqui neste evento. Então, eu acredito que, a partir desse evento, podemos gerar também documentos que sirvam para entender esse momento histórico que estamos vivendo agora. Muito obrigado.
Thank you to our host and chairs for that inspiring and visionary welcome. So let us dive directly into our curated segment. Thank you, Professor Altrinu. Now, we move highly to the anticipated highlight of our symposium, the artistic exhibition titled Living Archives of Memory and Identity. This online showcase bridges tactical processes, interactive installation, and transmedia storytelling to recover and repair life stories across the globe. To steer this immersive visual segment, handle the presentation format, and guide our collective dialogue, I am pleased to pass the floor to our session moderator. Please welcome Professor Pedro Alves de Vega from CIAC Universidad Aberta. Professor Vega, please take the lead and introduce our artist.
Thank you very much, and good morning, everyone. First of all, thank you for the invitation to be present. It is with great pleasure that I am delighted to present this next panel. And so the artistic exhibition is usually one of the highlights of our world of conferences, because we seem to meet each other in several different occasions. And of course, we need to remind ourselves and everybody present that artistic practice is clearly a part of academia, because research done through artistic practice is clearly leading the way in many different contexts nowadays. We have a quite large variety of works, and they are focusing on different subjects and themes. So one of the highlights is tactile recovery, where we will see the use of embroidery and weaving in projects such as mending the mirror and protection lines to repair fragmented biographical narratives and to articulate identity through intentional gestures. We also have another line of works focusing on technological rituals. Instead of creating distance, projects like Anamnesi, Nexum, and Sacred Tree use transmedia storytelling and augmented reality to facilitate a ritual of connection, transforming the audience into co-creators of intangible heritage. We also have another line of research regarding relational identity, from tracing the trauma of the 1947 partition into performance, Banj, to exploring the instability of family objects in two narratives of memory. Identity here is presented as a distributed and relational construction. So thank you for all the authors and artists that participate in this segment. I would now ask kindly our MC to present the individual works. And so we will start with Zoe Arvaniti on family archives and contested territories. Thank you.
Thank you. I will now share the first set of videos, and please enjoy.
Two narratives of memory and identity, from family archive to contested territory. My name is Zoe Arvaniti, and this is my presentation for the Tell Me 2026 Symposium. Two narratives of memory and identity, from family archive to contested territory. The first installation is called I'm Afraid the Details Are Fading Away. It presents objects from my family archive, belongings of my grandmothers. They are placed behind a sheet of blurred plexiglass. The viewer stands at a distance. From there, everything looks hazy, almost ghostly. To see clearly, one must step closer. But even then, clarity is not everywhere. It appears only at specific points, where the objects pressed against the plexiglass. The rest remains blurred. if memory has its own cruel decisions. What to keep, what to erase, what to let fade so that life may continue. Clarity survives only where there has been contact, where intimacy has left its mark. The work explores the fragility of memory. But this work is not only about my family. In a world where forced displacement and the destruction of homes have become everyday realities, people lose not only their houses, but also the objects that held their stories. To lose one's belongings is a violent way to weaken memory, to destabilize identity. The work does not depict these events, but it asks a question. What does it mean to lose the object that hold your story? But memory is not only personal, it is also shaped by history. The second installation is called Établi non établi. It shifts from personal memory to collective history. It is based on the population exchange between Greece and Turkey in 1923, where religious identity determined displacement. The terms établi and non établi, French words meaning established and non-established, were used to distinguish those exempt from forced displacement from those who had to move. In the installation, these two words are handwritten in colored marker directly on a fractured plaster surface. The plaster was cast with colorful flakes, but they were meant to disappear, yet the material resisted. They were not carved or designed. Beneath the white surface, layers of color persist, visible only through fractures. The two installations is a simple conviction. All personal little histories are somehow parts of great events as well. They are two sides of the same discussion. The family archive holds objects that mattered to people once close. The cracked plaster holds histories that continue to resonate. Both works focus on what remains. Fragments, traces, partial images. Memory in this project is not a stable record. It operates as an intermediate space between presence and absence, clarity and obscurity, the personal and the collective. With my installations, I aim to propose an ethics of fragility, an acceptance that loss, fading and erasure are not failures of memory. They are what memory is. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We now move on to Bin Yoon and Patrick Artono with the interactive secretary.
Hola, this is Bean. Today I'm gonna talk about Sacred Tree Summoning Galora. To begin with, I wanted to introduce myself and Patrick, who built this up together. So let's watch it.
Together, Bin and Patrick, we make cosmotechnical work, where culture narrative and mediated experience meet. I'm Bin from Korea, Patrick from Indonesia. We both artist, educator, researcher, based in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. In January 2026, we co-moderated a SIGGRAPH digital arts community session beyond the global nurse, gathering artists across Vietnam, Indonesia, and Malaysia. One question drove us: how do Southeast Asian practitioners build collaborative frameworks from shared cosmologies, from situated constraints, from narratives yet to be heard? In Sacred Tree, we built embodied portals for relational ground. Our practice built shared space. Every gesture, a point of encounter. Every encounter, a ripple toward change.
Yeah, it was a short introduction of ourselves and work. As we have a great documentation video with narration, so I want to share with you to deep dive. In Korea, a sacred tree, Shinmok, is a living shrine where a village gathers to connect with unseen forces. Gal and Flora, Galora. 5 portals extend from the center tree. Pentatonic harmonies tied to Eastern cosmology layer and morph in real time, breathing with the pulsing of Galora. Sound becomes a spatial extension of the ritual. Displaced from my motherland, I found a flower on the ground, detached, fallen. I projected myself onto it. I did not want to be rotten. I scanned them with silica gel, then resuscitated them. I wanted them to be among others, so I brought them through the lens everyone carries. Each direction holds an elemental energy from Obangsek. To summon Galora, visitors reach down. The tap is close to the ground. This gesture is embodied, echoing the act of picking up what has been disregarded. In Ho Chi Minh City, participants reach down toward the portals. The embodied gesture crossed cultures. The relation formed before the explanation. Galora intermingled with bodies and spaces. Every summoning became co-authorship. Every touch relational. The ritual found ground here. Galora found others. This work, referencing cosmo techniques and relational aesthetic and embodied interaction, as you saw in the video. So also I wanted to share a demo video with more sound interaction and with a black background to see the creatures better. So this is a landing space. So each portal is a direction. Each direction carries its own Gallura, its own color, its own sound. East Greenwood, the direction of dawn and spring. Next is South Red Fire, Midsummer Noon. Gallura Fire carries intensity, deeper in color, softer at the edges. Next is Center Yellow Earth. Gallura soil holds the axis where everything meets. And next is West White Metal, Autumn Evening. It carries the wisdom of release. Lastly, Norse Blue Water, Midnight. Gallura Sioux is the last and the deepest. So every summoning becomes co-authorship. So if you want to experience this Gallura-xr.xyz, then you can experience together. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Joelle McTighe. The work I'm presenting is The Archive Dreams Us, Where Light Remembers Wrongly, 17 Haiku. This presentation focuses on Archive State 2, the self-contained digital artifact. The work exists online on my website, and the artifact can also operate as a locally installed HTML and CSS object. At its center, this is a text-based work. It asks what happens when memory no longer arrives as a stable record. but as something filtered, reordered, and returned through systems of storage and access. The Archive Dreams Us exists in 3 states. Archive State 1 is a digital text installation. This presentation covers Archive State 2, the self-contained digital artifact, and Archive State 3 is a printed artist publication. Each state is a condition and changes how the text can be encountered. Online, the work behaves as a moving system. In print, the text becomes fixed, but the act of reading still changes how it gathers. In this artifact, the work sits somewhere between those states, stable in its code, unstable in its experience. It is built to operate without a platform, a feed, or an external dependency. It can be hosted online, installed locally, or presented as a screen-based environment. That independence matters because the work is concerned with access. Access is a condition that determines what can appear, what can be withheld, and what can be returned. The object holds its own system. It does not need to be refreshed by an outside platform in order to continue. The artifact moves through a small set of actions. Text appears, it redacts, it reorders, it withdraws, it returns. No complete version is ever revealed. The viewer encounters partial access as the condition of the piece. This mirrors the larger question behind the work. How do memory, identity, and history change when what we receive is already filtered? The text moves through 3 states: the dataset, the prompt, and the memory. Together, these states form a structure of change. Something is stored, something is asked of it, something comes back altered. The first state is the dataset. This section begins with inherited structures, stored language, images, captions, metadata, and the quieter assumptions that sit beneath them. Datasets can look neutral from a distance, but they are made from decisions. They carry the imprint of who uploaded, who named, who repeated, and who was left out. In the work, the dataset is treated as a shaped and handcrafted source. What remains has already been filtered. The second state is the prompt. Here, language becomes an intervention. A prompt can seem like a simple instruction, but every word has an accent, a context, and a set of assumptions behind it. The prompt reveals conditioning. When we ask a system to generate, retrieve, or complete something, we are also revealing what we believe is the center of the image, what kind of memory deserves form, and what kinds of absence can be ignored. The system completes sentences already shaped by history. The third state is the memory. Here, memory emerges as probabilistic. What returns becomes the pattern that overrides what remains absent. In digital systems, retrieval can begin to feel like truth. Search results, archives, feeds, and rankings decide which histories surface first. What is repeated becomes visible. What is not returned becomes harder to prove. In this section, access increasingly replaces authorship. The question becomes less, what happened, and more, what comes back when we ask. The passage I want to pause with is from the memory. We no longer ask what is true, only what returns. The work is about the systems that decide what truth, identity, and memory can look like. This work does not present a linear life story. Instead, it asks what happens before biography becomes legible. What is stored, what is filtered, what is omitted, ranked, and returned. In this project, biography appears as something mediated through access, storage, and interpretation. Memory and identity appear as processes shaped by systems rather than stable records. The next section is a 5-minute capture of the self-contained digital artifact in motion. This capture documents one encounter with the work, not the whole of it, as the work has no beginning or end in its original form. There will be no narration over the capture.
to the organizing team. Is this part of the exhibition?
Yes, is the video that was shared by the author.
By the author, okay.
Yes, this has
Looks like a little
2
bit
minutes. Boring. Sorry, not boring.
Okay.
It's just to have a feeling of the whole
Okay.
object.
Thank you for spending time with me and my work, The Archive Dreams Us. The work continues across its 3 states: digital installation, self-contained artifact, and printed publication. Each state carries the same text differently. Each one changes what can be accessed, what can be held, and what remains unresolved.
This video presents Mending the Mirror, a project from the Experimental Narratives course at the Benemérita Universidad Autónoma de Puebla, led by professors Daniel Herrera Romero and Gabriela Farias Islas. Students used the symbolic self-portrait as a device for thought. By transferring digital photos onto paper and intervening with embroidery, they engaged in the act of mending, joining fragmented pieces of the self and reconstructing personal history through the tactical use of thread. The methodology was built on a single rule: no stitch without intention. In this framework, the stitch is a semiotic act. Every thread serves to anchor meaning through 4 operations: emphasis to highlight, erasure to veil, repair to heal, and signaling to direct the viewer's gaze. To move beyond the literal, students integrated personal symbols with borrowed cultural symbols, turning the portrait into a metaphorical argument. One student used embroidery to break a curse of melancholy. She transformed the blue of sadness into a vibrant river of multiple colors, signifying her ability to rewrite her emotional narrative. Using intertextual dialogue, one student incorporated a reference to Klimt's The Kiss. However, her portrait looks away in denial, using stars to signal a state of alertness and the rejection of romance following a difficult breakup. Moving toward a horror/grunge aesthetic, another student utilized surgical stitches to represent internal wounds. Her intention was to break the theme of perfection and explore pain and repair. In another work, a student used a yellow mask and a black and white filter, illuminated by a single lamp, to create a striking halo effect. She used stars to divide the image, representing a tension between the sky and the face. Their stitching, simple, short lines, was inspired by the brief, intense sparks of fireworks in a dark sky, representing a light that is ephemeral yet persistent. One student chose not to focus on their face, but on her personal space. By layering images of her bedroom, filled with Japanese items, stuffed animals, and shoes, she argued that the organized chaos of their room is the truest reflection of their personality. For a student who dislikes being photographed or drawn, the artifact became a collage of the things she loves. Featuring a camera, a record player, and a tape recorder, the work is decorated with lace wheels, a nod to her interest in Lolita-style sewing. She used stars and lace to highlight specific edges and musical notes, ensuring the work felt full and vibrant rather than empty, turning the avoidance of their own image into a celebration of their distributed self. For many, this was a way to reclaim a childhood craft that was once an obligation. One student recalled being forced to embroider napkins as a child. However, by choosing to embroider on the rigid support of paper for this project, they found a new sense of mobility and freedom, turning a chore into a chosen authorial stance. Ultimately, mending the mirror is about more than craft. It is about the distributed self. It proves that identity is built in relation to others, our history, and our surroundings. By tactilely intervening in digital media, these students have recovered collective memory and found a vital tool for social engagement. They have shown us that even in a fragmented world, we can always find the thread to mend.
Olá a todos, me chamo Anderson Luiz de Souza. O trabalho que apresento hoje chama-se Linhas de Proteção, Narrativas Autobiográficas entre Desenho, Têxtil e Memória. Esta obra nasce de uma investigação artística profundamente atravessada pelo desenho, entendido não apenas como linguagem visual, mas como forma de pensamento, de organização sensível e de elaboração da experiência. Desde a infância, o desenho ocupou um lugar muito importante na minha trajetória. Inicialmente, desenhar era uma prática intuitiva, quase silenciosa, uma forma de organizar pensamentos e criar espaços de atenção e presença. Com o tempo, essa relação deixou de ser compreendida apenas como produção de imagens e passou a ser percebida como uma maneira de pensar com o corpo através do gesto e da repetição. Ao longo da minha vida, o meu desenhar atravessou diferentes experiências profissionais e acadêmicas. Da cenografia ao figurino, da moda ao ensino, da prática artística à investigação em educação e artes. E em todas essas experiências, uma questão permaneceu constante: a relação entre linha, gesto e construção de sentido. É neste percurso que emerge uma ideia central para essa pesquisa: a noção de que desenhar também pode ser uma forma de tecer, um desdobramento da minha tese de doutorado. A obra apresenta parte justamente desta aproximação entre desenho e práticas têxteis. Produzida sobre um tecido de algodão branco, de uso doméstico, a peça articula pintura e bordado com camadas de desenho. O tecido aqui não funciona apenas como suporte, mas como um campo de memória, carregando referências ligadas ao cotidiano, ao trabalho manual e às práticas artesanais. Sobre essa superfície foi desenvolvida uma pintura azul utilizando tinta para azulejos diluída e aplicada como manchas de aquarela. E sobre essas manchas azuis foram bordados em vermelho padrões geométricos repetitivos. Essas formas dialogam diretamente com os bordados tradicionais, conhecidos no meu contexto familiar como redendê, referência aos bordados que só depois eu descobri que se chamavam hardanger, que minha mãe realizava, mas no contexto familiar ela não sabia dessa origem, né, europeia deste bordado. Para ela era só uma referência da família, né, um trabalho que era desenvolvido desde sempre pelas minhas tias, pelas amigas, pelas outras familiares, enfim. Era uma fonte de subsistência. Essa presença da memória familiar é fundamental para a obra. Eu lembro que na minha infância eu tinha o hábito de pedir para minha mãe que desenhasse imagens para serem posteriormente pintadas. As imagens eram quase sempre flores. Mas mais tarde eu percebi que essas mesmas flores reapareciam em toalhas, em panos de prato, em objetos têxteis de uso cotidiano, objetos do dia a dia, produzidos artesanalmente dentro do ambiente doméstico. Assim, o bordado aparece neste trabalho não apenas como técnica, mas como uma linguagem herdada. Um saber transmitido pela convivência, pela observação e pela repetição dos gestos. Sobre a pintura azul, o bordado em linha vermelha cria uma segunda camada de desenho. Nesse momento, o desenho deixa de ser apenas gráfico e passa a acontecer através do fio. O gesto repetitivo de bordar transforma o tempo em matéria visível. Cada ponto registra um instante, uma permanência, uma pequena variação. O processo de execução da obra levou pouco mais de 20 horas e revelou-se profundamente meditativo. Bordar tornou-se uma prática de atenção, presença e elaboração subjetiva. No centro da composição encontra-se a imagem de uma mão em posição de figa, desenhada a partir da observação direta da minha própria mão, em escala real. A figa introduz na obra uma dimensão simbólica importante, tradicionalmente associada à proteção contra o mal-olhado e à boa sorte. Ela também estabelece conexões com referências afro-brasileiras e com questões de ancestralidade e pertencimento. Esses aspectos tornaram-se ainda mais evidentes no contexto da minha migração do Brasil para Portugal. O deslocamento geográfico acabou produzindo também um deslocamento sensível, fazendo com que certos símbolos culturais, antes naturalizados, passassem a ser percebidos de maneira mais intensa. Nesse sentido, a figa opera como um gesto de permanência, proteção e reinscrição identitária. Embora muitos desses elementos possam aparecer de forma abstrata para o espectador, a obra constitui-se como uma narrativa autobiográfica, construída não apenas de palavras, mas através de materiais, gestos, ritmos e repetições. A investigação dialoga teoricamente com autores como Tim Ingold, Gilles Deleuze, Henk Borgdorf e Paul Ricoeur, especialmente na compreensão do desenho como prática processual, da repetição como produção de diferença e da arte como forma de produção de conhecimento. A partir dessas referências, o trabalho procura pensar o desenho não apenas como representação, mas como experiência. Um fazer no qual pensamento e gesto se constituem simultaneamente. Assim, Linhas de Proteção propõe uma narrativa que não se organiza de maneira linear, mas em camadas. Memória, corpo, materialidade, ancestralidade e tempo entrelaçam-se através da prática artística. Mais do que representar uma história, a obra procura construir uma história materialmente através do gesto repetido de desenhar e bordar. E talvez seja justamente neste ponto que ela se aproxima da proposta deste simpósio, ao compreender a narrativa como algo que pode existir para além da linguagem verbal, emergindo também nos processos, nos afetos, nas materialidades e nos modos de fazer. Muito obrigado.
Hello everyone, my name is Himmat Singh Shinhat. I'm a queer multidisciplinary artist, a writer, and an emerging psychedelic guide based in Jojage, which is the indigenous name for what is known today as Montreal in Canada. The work I'm presenting today is called Panj, which means five in Punjabi. It's a solo interdisciplinary performance that weaves together live storytelling, psychedelic rock fusion music, and video projection. So Panj is a biographical story about a reckoning between a son and his father. Their relationship was fractured after the son came out as queer, leaving a chasm of silence between them. The father died suddenly in 2006, leaving this rupture unhealed. Panj relates the long, slow, and painful work of returning to that silence and finding inside it something that was always there. That son is me. That father is my father. Panj is the creative work that came out of that reckoning. To understand Panj, it would be useful for me to share with you some details about the journey that shaped my family. My father was an Orthodox Punjabi Sikh born in 1931, 16 years before the partition of India and Pakistan in 1947. That event, the violent drawing of a border through the heart of Punjab, displaced millions of people, shattered communities, and left wounds that were passed down through generations, often without being named. My family, my parents, and their parents carried those wounds in silence, the way families did, burying their pain inside their bodies out of sight. From India, my dad made his way to Britain, and then from Britain eventually to Canada. Each migration was another layer of adaptation, of holding himself together in a new place. His first priority was to provide for his family and ensure the safety and security of his wife and his children. His feelings were often buried deep inside in order to present the impression of belonging that perhaps did not allow for his inner feelings to surface or to be expressed. He was also a craftsman, an artisan, and that was no accident. My father belonged to the Ramgarhia Sikhs, a caste within the Sikh tradition historically known for their skills in woodworking, metalwork, and carpentry. To be Ramgarhia is to carry a lineage of creating with your hands. Among the things he made was a pitti, a traditional Indian wooden chest, which he gave to me as a gift on my 40th birthday. That act of making and giving was itself a form of cultural transmission. He was passing down to me not just an object, but a tradition, a heritage, a way of being in the world that went back generations. I didn't fully understand what I was receiving at the time. When I came out as queer, the silence between us deepened. We never found our way back to each other through that silence. And then, in 2006, he died suddenly from a fatal infection. Any possibility of reconciliation died with him. All that I had left of him was his photographic archive, decade after decade of images, family life, his children, seemingly ordinary moments. But looking back at those photographs after his death, I started to understand something I hadn't seen while he was alive. His language was visual, not verbal. He expressed himself through the photographs that he took, recording the moments that were precious to him. The care and the love that he didn't know how to express in words was present all along, articulated through the images he chose to record and preserve. So Panj began as a question, the answer in the central motif, the pitti. What do we inherit? What do we lose? And what do we discover, sometimes too late, that we were always holding? Panj was not made from a safe distance. It was made from inside the wound. The creation process happened in parallel with a period of deep therapeutic healing work, including EMDR, a therapeutic modality that works directly with traumatic memory held in the body. The therapeutic process and the
E aí, da Golgão desse tempo, lembro-me eu, a Golgão tinha uns pontos e umas referências muito icónicas, muito conhecidas, que a gente, pronto, que havia, que é de Paulo, o Gorduras, o Chico Afonso, o Cu da Mula, tudo isso eram histórias, era tudo coisas que eu recordo com alguma saudade, porque os anos não perdoam.
Preservar a identidade de um lugar exige mais do que guardar fotografias, exige ouvir quem viveu as suas histórias, e este é o ponto de partida do Anamnese Nexo. Para que estas memórias não se percam, criou-se uma plataforma digital que organiza e disponibiliza o património material da Gulgan, ligando o passado ao presente pela tecnologia. Na nossa galeria de histórias, cada registro é uma peça deste arquivo.
Havia a Feira de São Martinho, não é nada para agora, montava-se lá depois para os cavalos. Era 10, 11 e 12, era os 3 dias da Feira de Cavalo. O resto depois vinha outra feira de quinquilharias e sapatos.
Mais do que um arquivo, o Anamnese Nexum propõe um nexo, uma ligação viva entre o património imaterial e o espaço físico. Através dos vídeos alimentamos exposições imersivas, aplicamos o conceito da anamnese, o exercício ativo de recuperar a memória para evitar o esquecimento coletivo. Aqui o visitante deixa de ser só um observador passivo para se tornar parte da narrativa, interagindo com os testemunhos através dos dispositivos móveis. Esta experiência de realidade aumentada funciona então como uma janela temporal, ao sobrepor camadas digitais à realidade física, transformando os locais icónicos da vila em dispositivos de memória interativa, onde o passado e o presente coabitam no mesmo ecrã. A sustentabilidade deste ecossistema assenta no design participativo. O site recolha é o motor que alimenta estas experiências, permitindo que qualquer cidadão submeta conteúdos que serão posteriormente integrados nestas camadas imersivas, escolhendo os locais ou sugerindo novos. Após selecionar o local, o utilizador é convidado a escolher a forma de expressão com que mais se identifica. A interface foi desenhada para ser acessível e flexível, e é possível fazer o upload de um ficheiro previamente gravado, partilhar um link de um vídeo externo, ou, até para quem prefere a palavra escrita, redigir a sua memória num espaço seguro e dedicado. Para uma experiência mais imersiva e espontânea, a funcionalidade de gravação integrada permite captar o testemunho em tempo real. Sem necessitar de instalar aplicações externas, o utilizador grava a sua história diretamente no browser. Podendo validá-la antes da submissão final e bastando apenas dados básicos para que a sua narrativa pessoal fique perpetuada no nosso arquivo coletivo. E portanto, queremos encurtar distâncias, seja de perto ou de longe, a plataforma existe para que todas as gerações possam participar e aceder livremente a este património que é de todos. Anamnese Nexum, aprender com o tempo e partilhar a nossa história.
Hello, my name is Masamrit Pasupa from King Mongkut University of Technology, Thonburi, Bangkok, Thailand. I often work with sound and moving image to explore memory, atmosphere, and everyday experience through media arts. Today, I would like to share my work, Resonance of Beijing, the Breathing City. This project was developed during Classic Beijing New Beijing, an international workshop held on 2025 at the Communication University of China. During the workshop, we visit different places across Beijing's historical site, old neighborhoods, public park, and areas surrounding the Forbidden Palace. This experience allowed me to encounter the Beijing not only a modern city, but also as a layered historical environment shaped by memory, atmosphere, and transformation. What stayed with me the most, not only visual atmosphere of the city, but also its sound, the movement of people, the wind through trees, traffic in the distance, public conversation, and moments of unexpected quietness. The project was later presented as a part of Corridor of Infinite Scene, an exhibition associated with Asian International Joint Teaching Achievement Exhibition in Beijing. The exhibition explored the relationship between cultures, heritage, digital media, and contemporary artistic practice within a historical atmosphere of Beijing. Presenting the work in this context shaped my understanding of Beijing as a city where the historical memory and contemporary transformation go well together. While staying in Beijing, I spent a lot of time just simply listening. Sometime in the morning, sometime in the late night, sometime while walking without destination. The project slowly developed through a few recordings that I collect from across different parts of the city. Rather than create a documentary about Beijing, I want to create an experience of being inside its atmosphere. I want the audience to feel the rhythm, the emotional of the city through the sound. At the center of the artwork is an ancient tree which is located in Jinshan Park. What fascinated me was the image of a younger tree growing from within the older trunk. For me, it's become a quiet metaphor for continually memory and transformation across the generation. The tree almost like a witness of the city, watching different layers of time continually overlap. Sound recording became the foundation of the project. I recorded transportation, footsteps, wind, conversation, kids playing in the yard, urban ambience, and environmental resonance from everyday situation. Later, the sounds were composed together into a breathing-like rhythm. I start thinking about the city not simply as architecture or geography, but as something alive, something emotional. The visual process developed differently from the sound. Many of images began from sketch and observation of the tree itself. From there, I used AI to expand surrounding environment and imagine atmosphere. For me, AI was not used to replace reality. Instead, it's become a way to extend memory, feeling, and visual imagination beyond direct documentation. Through the combination of documentary sound and constructed visual imagery, the work exists somewhere between memory and imagination. More than telling a story directly, Resonance of Beijing, the breathing city, invite viewers to slow down, observe, and listen. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to all the artists presenting. There was a message saying that we could see the part that was cut off from the presentation by Himachinat. So if we could see that now before moving on to the more social part. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Recording through the photographs that he his language was visual, not verbal. He expressed himself through the photographs that he took, recording the moments that were precious to him. The care and the love that he didn't know how to express in words was present all along, articulated through the images he chose to record and preserve. So Panj began as a question, the answer in the central motif, the Pitti. What do we inherit? What do we lose? And what do we discover, sometimes too late, that we were always holding? Panj was not made from a safe distance. It was made from inside the wound. The creation process happened in parallel with a period of deep therapeutic healing work, including EMDR, a therapeutic modality that works directly with traumatic memory held in the body. The therapeutic process and the artistic process were not running alongside each other. They were the same process, finding two different forms of expression. Walking back through time symbolically and rediscovering the various artifacts that my father had left behind helped me reconstruct the biographical elements of our relationship. My work also involved intergenerational conversation, sitting with family members, my mother in particular, and asking questions that had never been asked, listening to stories that had never been told. My process also involved archival excavation, going through my father's photographs, his papers, and the objects he left behind, and learning slowly to read them differently. What emerged from all of this was a conviction that became central to the work, that the act of artistic creation can itself be a biographical method. Panj does not document a healing process that happens somewhere else. Panj is the healing process, made visible, made shareable, offered to an audience as an invitation to reflect on their own inheritances and silences. I want to say something about the theoretical conversation that Panj is part of, not because the work requires an academic framework to be understood, but because naming these thinkers locates it within a broader discourse about diaspora, memory, and biographical narrative. Stuart Hall wrote about diasporic identity as something that is always in production, never settled, never complete, always looking simultaneously backward toward an origin and forward into the present. Panj doesn't describe that condition, it enacts it. Every performance is another iteration of that unfinished negotiation. The evolution continues. Marianne Hirsch gave us the concept of post-memory, the idea that the traumatic experiences of one generation are transmitted to the next with such force that they are carried as if they were one's own memories, even though you weren't there. The 1947 partition is not my memory, but it lives in me, in the silences of my family, in the cultural codes around connection to land, belonging, masculinity, and shame, all of which shaped everything, including the estrangement with my father. Diana Taylor distinguishes between the archive, material transmittable documents, and the repertoire, embodied ephemeral performance. The Pitti in Panj collapses that distinction. It is simultaneously an archival object and a live performer. It holds memory and it releases it. In building a reproduction of the Pitti for the performance, a hole was drilled in the back so that a light source could be placed inside. When the lid is lifted, light emanates from within, symbolizing the stories or the memories that it contains. Projecting digitized images of my father's photographs onto the inside of the open lid brings those memories back to life. Finally, Sarah Ahmed's figure of the melancholic immigrant, the person who refuses to perform happiness as the price of belonging, who holds on to the unhappy inheritances of displacement and rupture, illuminates something essential about my father. His silences were not personal failures. They were structurally produced. They were the cost of navigating a world that demanded silence about the atrocities committed by colonial powers and subordination to imperial power and tacit obedience to the hierarchy that it imposed. You don't need to have read any of these scholars to recognize yourself in what they describe, but naming them matters because sponge is part of a conversation that is larger than one family's story. Sponge is the first movement of an ongoing autobiographical practice. The work that follows it is called Milapa, which means reunion or coming together. It's currently in development both as a memoir and a performance. If Sponge is the reckoning with my father, Milapa is the reckoning with myself, a queer Punjabi Sikh artist who survived the silence and is still slowly learning to speak. The silence is not fully interrupted yet, so the work must continue. I look forward to the conversation that follows, and I'm grateful to the Tell Me 2026 Organizing Committee for creating a space where biographical narratives like this one can find a home in academic and artistic dialogue. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And once again, my thanks to all the artists whose works were presented here. I'll just recap their names. Zoe Arvaniti on Family Archives and Contested Territories. Bin Yoon and Patrick Artono with the interactive Sacred Tree. Joelle McTeague exploring the archive Dream. Gabriela Farias Islas and Luis Daniel Herrera Romero on photographic embroidery. Anderson Luis de Souza with Protection Lines. Hima Chinat presenting an excerpt of the biographical performance Sponge. Ana Raquel Gouveia, Isabel Cristina Carvalho, and Paulo Maldonado on Anamnese in Nexum. And Mart Samarit Pasupa with The Resonance of Beijing. And so we now enter the discussion of all the works that were presented, all the diverse approaches to memory, to narrative, to biography. And I would like to hand over the stage to any of the audience members who would raise their hands and would like to address questions, comments, queries to several of the artists who are present. There are a few artists missing, unfortunately, in the panel today, but there are several, or the large majority is present. So please feel free to put your questions forward. We usually have this a moment of shyness. So I would start by asking a question maybe to Ana Raquel Gouveia, if she's present. Okay. Hello. And Anna, we heard that you were presenting this platform along with another artwork that we saw using augmented reality, but the artwork itself seemed to be present in those hemispheres. So can you tell us a little bit about the relationship between these three different aspects, the platform, the suspended artwork, and the augmented reality part?
Sure. The work started only with the hemispheres and the recollection of the videos, the testimonies that are presented through augmented reality. So it was the first, I would say, the starting point of the project. Then I had, as you saw in the video, the exhibition with those contacts with the public. And a lot of the people asked me where they could contribute to the work and expand the number of stories and how they could, in their own territories, participate in such project. And I came to the conclusion that it was a bit impossible for me to go and collect the stories of all the people that wanted to share. So a second part of the project began with the need for a platform to collect all the testimonies, and the platform Anamnesis Experience was born. It took a bit of time to program and design, but it's the new wave of the project, I would say, that could continue and expand, starting in Gulga, which is the case study of the project, but in further steps to other territories in Portugal. I'm aiming for smaller locations because that's where the richer stories are seeming more vibrant, but who knows, maybe cities and in a distant future could be a subject to address. But yeah, so the idea is to collect stories through that platform and Amnesia Experience, curate them. So I would see all the elements and select the ones that would be best to use in the live experiences. And the semispheres would then contain those, I would say, how is it said in English? Key points where the user would scan and the stories would appear using the augmented reality. So yeah,
Anchors,
it's a bit of a match.
Okay, thank you very much. Aderitu, would you like to place a question?
Yes, thank you. Let's try to, start by some way here. So I have one question that perhaps can be applied regarding two of the artworks presented here. The first one is the two narratives of memory and identity by Zoe Arvaniti. When we are dealing, I don't know if Joy is there, when we are dealing with personal objects, I mean photographs or whatever objects that are our own objects, if someone is interested to know the context of these objects, why are these objects there? And so the owner normally explain something about it, especially photographs. Sometimes after 30 years or 40 years or 60 years after this photograph was created, we need to ask people about who is who there. We need someone to explain something about it. So what I'm trying to tell you is personal objects are part of identity as long as the reference of the memories are present. This is also a question to Inmat. Is in your two narratives, again to Zoe, in your two narratives of memory, where can we have this kind of capture or the context of the object Warner explaining something about the object? Because otherwise we can start a process of speculation regarding the identity of the Warner, because you don't know about it. We start to create a kind of speculation about the object itself, which also is interesting, but perhaps in the process we are losing the identity effect, or at least being aware of the identity effect. I don't know if you could follow my question and comment.
Maybe we could start with Zoe, please.
Yes, thank you for the question. I try to ask questions about memory through my family objects because in Greece, I never met my two grandmothers. I just had this object as a memory through my parents. And this is very crucial for me. So the object that they used every day, like the household objects, for me is a way to connect
with the personal memory that's not there, was never there. So I have only fragments of them, and okay, maybe there is a need to explain why these household objects hold memory. For me, and for the Greek society, I'm from Greece, it's a very, how can I say, it's very characteristic that of old women, that they have these old objects that they put in a vitrine, and it shaped in a way the identity, personal and collective, of our generation.
Mhm. But you agree with me that a piece of information is missing there, you know,
Yes,
because
yes.
your great grandmother is no more there, you know.
And I never met them.
Met them to have a kind of, please give me the context of this object, or at least try
Yes.
to share with me the context of this object. Yeah.
So for me, is a undefined object as
Yeah.
well, in a way.
So I saw this blurring effect that you have in your artwork installation can be also this blurring effect that we have regarding the identity, towards the identity of this person. I mean the owner, you know. But again,
Yes,
thank you. Yes, please.
Oh, no, yes, that's why I use this blurred plexiglass. It's exactly the explanation.
Thank you. So another question I have with Inmat Shinhat. Thank you for your presentation. I think it touched us all a little bit, because we know how sometimes how difficult how difficult it is to deal with memories, with problems of being accepted in certain very close societies and so on. But this artwork, if I may call it artwork, paints, is also a kind of object that it heals you, it helps you to heal by some way, because your father is no more there, yes, again. And you cannot share with him whatever, thoughts you have, because he's no more there. So you have to deal with these broken memories and try to integrate in your own life, if I may say. Yeah. So it's a kind of healing process.
It is. It's basically it's in a way it's reconstructing the relationship using the artifacts that he left behind. So, for example, I have photograph albums of photos that he took, and so is a process of going through the photos. It's very old, these albums. They're like black and white photographs that go all the way back to the 1950s. And then some of the things that he built. So the petti, which is a central motif in the performance, is a wooden chest that he built for me for my 40th birthday. So when he gave it to me, I was like, I'm 40 and you're just giving me this wooden box. Like, couldn't you think of something, I don't know, more exciting to give me? And then it was only much later that I realized that what's contained in that was his whole history, his heritage, because of who he was and how working with wood was a very integral part of the culture that he came from, because his lineage is like artisans that work with wood, carpenters, woodworkers. So it was like a process of rediscovering that, because after I came out, we stopped talking. We didn't really talk to each other, other than, hello, family occasions, whatever. But there were no really deeper conversations about who are you, father, and who are you, son, and then what do I have to transfer to you, to transmit to you. So I had to kind of reconstruct that for myself, because he died very suddenly. He was quite young when he died, and it was very much unexpected. And I had intended at some point to sit with him and talk about deeper things, but I lost that opportunity when he died. So this work is a way of recreating that opportunity. There's a lot of reinterpretation because I don't have the information about what these photographs were, so I had to guess.
Yeah.
And then when I digitize them, I change the sequence or the order in which they appear. So I sort of rewrite his history that way.
Yeah. My parents are already passed away, so my father will complete this August 105 years old. So I'm not so old, but he married quite old. So when I was born, he was already 55 or something
Okay.
around 55. Which now happens is some of these photographs, we don't have no more people there to identify all people there. So the idea, what the phenomenon is, more and more with time, the photograph is embracing faces who are unknown, in the middle of the family photographs, because nobody care to put a kind of legend or kind of caption, giving a kind of context and identifying people. It was a friend of, or friend or someone visiting us in the late 50s or something. So more and more these photos are embracing faces unknown, and nobody's there, no more to give us at least one cue about who are these people.
That's right. It's interesting though, because in newer sort of applications, like an artificial intelligence, for example, on my computer, like in my Photos app, it can guess who the face is. So if you click on in Apple Photos, it will name who the people are in the photo, which is really quite interesting. So that's a way to remember who the people in the photos are. The other thing I wanted to say as I was listening to you, some of the photos that document our migration from India to England were taken, we stopped in Italy, I think it was. So I was trying to relocate where the places were where we stopped. There were some beautiful fountains and buildings in it. So I had a flash and I uploaded the photos into artificial intelligence. And then the artificial intelligence located where those photos were taken. So it helped me reconstruct the journey that my father took to bring us from India to England. So it's really interesting the way technology can help you discover things again now.
Okay, thank you again.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. I suppose this is now a comment of mine. When we are dealing with the subject of memory, it's very difficult to make sure that we are talking about something very objective. Memory is always subjective. We are influenced by context, we are influenced by our own state of mind, and a number of other factors. So it's interesting that these memories can trigger situations in other individuals. I'm talking about our own memories. So if we can relate to something that somebody is presenting, like as I was presenting her memories. And of course, my mother had exactly the same display of objects inside a glass frame, and probably those items trigger memories in other people. And some of the items that she showed triggered memories of my own on my mother's objects. So this is why I tend to think of memory as a generative process. So memories can generate more memories and more associations in our mind. It was also interesting how we can connect this, for example, to Anderson Souza's presentation, especially when it comes to the very obvious link with the lines that are stitched in these photographs, that they not only deal with healing processes such as the ones that we were discussing, but also in creating new lines of observation, new lines of healing, new memories. Why not? So Anderson, can you maybe make some comments on this?
Deixe-me ver se eu percebi bem. Meu inglês não é muito bom. Quer saber a respeito? Pode repetir, por favor.
Posso fazer em português. A questão é, quando nós estamos a falar de memória, a memória muitas vezes, as nossas memórias geram eventos semelhantes, até do ponto de vista também neurocognitivo, nos outros, em terceiros, não é? Quando
Sim,
estávamos a
sim.
ver alguns destes trabalhos de muitos destes artistas, as nossas próprias memórias estavam a ser ativadas em relação a situações nossas e não deles. E,
Sim.
portanto, aqui estava a fazer um pouco o paralelo com o que se passa no trabalho que apresentou com as linhas que são
Uhum.
introduzidas nesses vários trabalhos que vimos. Elas têm uma função dupla. Por um lado, vão também constituir memória, mas também vão criar novas memórias e vão criar processos de, como estávamos a falar agora na discussão, de cura, de lidar melhor com determinadas situações, lidar com passados, lidar com dificuldades pessoais, etc. Era um pouco nesse
Uhum.
sentido que eu estava interessado em ouvir também as suas visões.
Claro. É, quando eu iniciei este trabalho, eu iniciei exatamente meio que num processo de autocura. Vai muito ao encontro, né, disso que tu comentaste, porque sou brasileiro, vivo aqui em Portugal já faz alguns anos, e eu sou professor. Neste momento eu estou na sala aqui de laboratório de arte têxtil. Uma das disciplinas que eu leciono é laboratório de arte têxtil. E eu comecei esse trabalho muito intuitivamente. Durante o doutorado, eu estudei as relações entre ensino de desenho com filosofia da educação em educação, e eu fui investigar o meu processo de criação. E estando aqui, eu tenho me conectado muito mais com as minhas memórias de infância, com as minhas memórias mais, digamos, ancestrais, porque eu lembro muito, né? Acabei lembrando muito desse processo do bordado. E como eu falo no vídeo, do Hardanger, do Redendê, acabou sendo uma maneira de eu me reconectar com com esse meu passado. Eu comecei a investigar o desenho o desenho no bordado, porque o bordado ele exige uma atenção muito grande. Ele exige a sua presença ali, como qualquer atividade manual. Ele exige uma presença total, né, de quem está fazendo. E, e isso, e aí eu tenho, é um processo quase meditativo. Quando eu estou ali bordando, eu começo a trabalhar muitas questões pessoais. Vou pensando nas minhas relações com o Brasil, nas minhas relações com a ancestralidade, com questões que eu acabei me distanciando. Na verdade, eu estava desatento quando eu vivia no Brasil, mas que agora, morando em outro país, isso tem se tornado muito latente, muito latente. Então, o bordado ele surgiu como um trabalho muito intuitivo. E eu comecei a dar aula também aqui no mestrado em educação, no ensino de artes. Sou um dos diretores do mestrado, em que a professora Selma é uma das professoras no curso, a professora Eduarda, que está presente aqui também, ela é uma das diretoras junto comigo nesse mestrado. Ah, eu tenho pensado muito em como desenvolver trabalhos manuais, seja com o bordado, seja com o desenho, que é a minha expertise maior, ah, ajuda a colocar quem está a fazer nesse processo de pensar a sua vida. Não entro numa questão de psicologia, que não é a minha seara, não é a minha área, mas entra no processo de como que eu trabalho a criação, fazendo uso das minhas memórias, fazendo uso daquilo que eu tenho, daquilo que eu trago já no meu background, né? Então, a minha investigação com linhas, ela acaba por atravessar essas várias camadas, seja uma camada mais filosófica, uma camada mais espiritualista, uma camada mais artística. E tudo isso começou quando eu fui estudar Deleuze, o conceito de linhas de fuga, né? Então, foi aí. Não sei se eu consegui me explicar, que eu não ia conseguir falar isso em
É,
inglês.
sim, sim. Muito obrigado. Just a quick summary in English for our English speakers. So we were discussing the relevance of the process of embroidery, of stitching, and all the different layers that it activates, not only the creative artistic side, but also the memory side, the concentration, or even the meditative state that you enter once you dedicate your whole attention to the process. So here again, the creative process is a very relevant part of all these artifacts. The way that in the creation itself, different facets of the artistic process, of the scientific process, are involved and are intertwined, so to speak. We have another question from Inkeri Aula, so I'm handing over the microphone to you.
Hi, yeah, thank you. Mine is rather a short comment. So my name is Inkeri. I'm an anthropologist in the Aalto Visual Communication Research Group, where we do a lot of artistic research as well. I thought that it came very nicely together, this all the artistic presentations in bringing up the kind of the fragmentary nature of remembering, of memories. Like Zoe Arvaniti, your work with the blurred background somehow reminds me a lot of things that we've been also discussing and working with about the fragmentary surge of memories, and I think it relates very nicely to embroidery. There is a Finnish artist who did a work on lost memories through embroidery, and her claim was that because often when you're stitching, you work from the wrong side, kind of the final work, so you don't see what is coming up, and that gives space for something subconscious and subliminal to emerge from the whole interaction with all the things that you are working with, and you bring into the space, be it your inherited repertoires or your archives or what it may be. And it's a way of creating a meaningful, maybe even a healing narrative in that moment. So yeah, I thought they came very nicely together. So this is just a thank you.
Thank you so much. I don't know if Zoe, you'd like to add something?
No, thank you for the comment.
Okay, thank you so much. Any more questions? Any more members of the audience who would like to question one of our artists? Is everybody already thinking about breakfast, lunch, and dinner according to the program? Anyway, I would still like to place another question. I think that Joelle McTeague is here with us today, and we were. Are you Joelle? Yes.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, thank you so much. I was intrigued by the part of your presentation that dealt with that kind of tapestry of all the words of that or the expressions, the phrases, the sentences that were coming up with the archive dream. In what way do you believe that this archive can be connected to triggering memories, to triggering new narratives, and how does it relate to the a viewer's experience? So how can we interact with the system? Does the system rely on any kind of input, or is it like a self-navigation system? Can you please just elaborate a bit more on the mechanics of how it works?
Yeah. So the text that is included, so the data set, what I turned into my own data set is 17 haikus and short essays about AI and how AI data sets were originally, that's a wide statement, I apologize, how the most commonly used consumer AI data sets were originally created, and how that to begin them, you are using what is available for free online. And really, it's based in subcultures was the original idea of where that it's a very particular viewpoint and not since if you are not using encyclopedias or varied input because you only have certain like websites of who is drawn there and who takes the time to put that information in. And if that's your base, what you build on top of it is inherently affected by that. Does that answer your question at all? Or
yes,
not really?
Yes. Well, I can understand how the information that underlies the system obviously determines how the system itself evolves. My curiosity was more in what way can the viewer or the interactor influence that evolution, if there is an influence at all. So is it a system that relies solely on the evolution of the AI system itself, or can the viewer interact and influence the outcomes?
The viewer cannot. It is not interactive. That because it's purely big. It's a very rigid set of code that I had created, and so it's not a interactive experience.
Okay, so it's evolutionary rather than interactive.
Yes,
it evolves within its own set of rules.
Correct. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. Any more questions?
I would like, I'm sorry,
Yes.
Pedro, I would like to ask Joel exact. I think it was the video of Joel who that embraced 2 minutes, more or less 2 minutes of an animation without sound. I could not follow this part. I don't know if this was a kind of provocation or it was only something that belongs to the piece, the artwork, and I could simply not follow.
Oh, so the video, so the original, so the work itself exists on my website, and so it's a video capture of it, and so I really couldn't think of another way to share that piece except for a video clip as it is, and so it's the work itself. It exists on my website because it's a code package, and so it continuously runs nonstop. And so the work itself has no beginning or end. And so it's continuously going through of the 3.
I'm curious to see it again. As you know, this session is being recorded, so we can then afterwards see it. We are, of course, we are going to do some post edition to clean it a little bit, but these sessions will be available afterwards. So I'll invite everyone then to be look to our website where we should supposed to be to have that link. I have a final question to our colleague from Martsamrit Patsupa. I don't know if is still there. I'm not seeing him here in the list. I think he's not here. No, he's no more. I had a question for him regarding this resonance of Beijing, the breathing city. No, he's no more there.
No.
Okay, well, and on that note, also a reminder that the artworks themselves, not just the today's session, but the artworks are also available on the Tell Me website, so you can check there and click on each individual link to access the individual presentations. You do not have to see them all in sequence. You can interact with them individually. Okay, so thank you everyone so much for this very interesting presentation. Thank you to all the artists that were present for all the interactions. Thank you again to the organizers for all the nice work of putting together all these sessions and to bringing this very interesting group of people together. And I'm looking forward to seeing you again in the next sessions of the Tell-Me. I don't know if the MC would like to present the next session and to set the roadmap for the rest of the day. So I will pass the microphone over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. Well, and I mean, thank you, Professor Vega, again, and to all phenomenal contributing artists for sharing those deeply moving visual spaces. So, depending on where you are joining from us from the global map, it is now time for our official 60-minute international meal break. So, whether you're sitting here in Macau or enjoying lunch in Portimao or having breakfast in São Paulo, please take your time to step away from your screen and refresh. And we will gather back again in 60 minutes to our first keynote. So enjoy your break.
See you later. Selma, continuas online. Ficamos aqui os dois.
Não, vou já sair, vou já sair.
Dá à vontade.
Pareceu muitos participantes.
Sim, chegámos a ter 22, mas estava aqui a ver se calhar partilhava
Pareceu
logo no
muitos
início.
participantes.
Estou?
Pois estamos 8.
Ok, então, bom intervalo.
Bom intervalo.